Um,
All right, Coach, welcome, man. Hey, so we were just talking. You are outside. You are in Florida right now, and my jealousy and envy is through the roof. So, uh,
yeah, it's 80 and Florida weather. So it's been raining, it's been hot, it's been all the above, but not too bad. Not too bad to be outside. Like, where are
I'll
you so
take it.
you're in middle America, right?
We're Wisconsin, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
So
we're it's
cold.
it's last man. I tell you what, this is the Midwest in a nutshell. Last Friday, it was 75,
Yep.
and then it was like 60 the next day and then like 30s, and then tomorrow we're supposed to get snow flurries, and like today it's been raining cats and dogs all day. So it's just like the Midwest is I hate it. It's the worst weather. I want hot. Like, I love the heat. I can't stand the cold and the snow. Um but it's just terrible, man. I hate it. It's so
Yeah,
bad.
is that where you were born and raised, Wisconsin?
So I'm from Central Illinois. I'm from Springfield,
Okay.
Illinois.
Okay, cool.
My wife's from Waukesha, Wisconsin, which is like the Milwaukee area.
Yep.
And so when I met her, when I came up to work at Lake Forest, this was kind of we lived in Kenosha for a little while, which is kind of like right on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. And then uh when we got pregnant, we decided we probably need to buy a house and do some adult things. So
Yep.
we uh
Yep.
we ended up here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It seems to be the way, right? Like I was up in New York. I born and raised in Long Island, New York, and we got seasons, but it wasn't definitely no Wisconsin winter, but it was
Yeah.
definitely a winter. But then going up to Utica, New York, uh, you get the lake effect snow up there, right? So you're getting the sideways snow in April, and it's snowing 3 feet at a time. And so
Right.
we adjusted pretty quickly. But now being down in North Carolina, and now actually just Florida, right? The heat is definitely different, right? I've never had an August practice canceled before. Um,
Yeah.
because of the heat. So it was definitely getting acclimated to that and getting, even as a coach, right? Like people don't realize, like I sweat so much when I'm coaching. It's ridiculous. It's the other coach make fun of me that you're working too hard. And I'm like, hey, listen, if you're an offensive line coach, you're sweating out here. There's
I
no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I love the sweat. I get made fun of all the time because I've somewhere along the lines, I don't remember when, I started to wear a hoodie to
Oh
practice.
man.
And so I still do. Like, if it's I've done it every day, and it's not a tough, I don't know. People are always like, "Oh, it's you're trying to be tough." It's like, no, to me, I like to sweat.
Yep.
And if you know anything about the human body, when you sweat, your body starts to, like, the sweat makes your body feel cooler. And so
Yep.
I
Yep.
actually feel cooler once my sweatshirt's like soaking wet. I'm comfortable. Like, it to me,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I like to sweat. I'm a big sweater too, but so I always rock a hoodie at practice, man. And
They make fun of me here too. The opposite though. So I have a thing, and I guess call it a toughness thing, and it's all these things. Like I don't like not that I don't like it, and they can wear whatever, but like when I played offensive line, right, I never wore sleeves. It
oh,
was one of
no,
the
no,
things.
yeah.
Game practice, I'm sleeved up, right? I'm in three sweatshirts, a hoodie for practice, but game day, right? I'm always in no sleeves, and I carry that over today.
Yeah.
So in North Carolina, it doesn't get too cold, but I get called a Yankee. I got Yankee blood, right? Because I'm
Oh
out
yeah.
there and it's 30 degrees, and I'm in a short sleeve T-shirt or a short sleeve sweatshirt, and the guys are in four jackets. They're like, "You're fake tough. You're being tough." And it's like, "Hey, listen, it's a passage thing for me. It's one of those
Yeah.
things where the offensive line are going to be the guys that we don't care how cold or how hot, we're just going to get our jobs done, right? So,
Yeah.
the guys can wear whatever they want to wear, but you'll never catch me in sleeves on game day, no matter how cold it is. It's
I
just one of
I
those
so
things.
I told kids, like, I didn't tell kids, but I'd be like, we're same thing. Like, we're linemen, we're tough. We don't wear sleeves when it's cold. And I had 99% buy-in on that. The one kid who I would let wear sleeves, my last year at Lake Forest, he was an All-American. He was the conference lineman of the year, and I was like, whatever, dude. You can do whatever you
You wear
want.
what you want to
You
wear.
could
It's it,
you're grading out at 90%. You wear sleeves, buddy. If you
you
want,
you
go
gotta do
ahead.
what you gotta do. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like,
So
and the kids always bring up Trent Williams from San Francisco. He wears sleeves, and Jason Peters wearing sleeves a few games. They're like, well, these guys in the NFL wear, and I'm like, hey, listen, if you're gonna get paid $30
yeah.
million a year to play left tackle, you can wear sleeves, right? Like we
Yeah.
had we had a young man, Ethan Callaway, 2 years ago, who's at LSU now, and he got a full ride to LSU, and he wore sleeves. And I was like, I'm not saying a word to this kid.
No.
You know, like he can, if you're going to go play at LSU and you want to wear sleeves, man, like
Yeah,
you do
go
what you got
for
to
it.
do to play a game. So,
Rock on.
yeah, it's a toughness thing for me, but more so that it was one of the things that I always got preached at as a player, and so I just carry it over. And then it gets cold out there sometimes, but
Yeah.
hand warmers work a wonderful thing.
Well, I worked in North Carolina for a year, and so I knew about that, but it's yeah, it's fine. All right.
Yeah,
I got one question I gotta ask you, and then we'll get going to talk. I got some other things I want to talk about, but I
yeah,
gotta
for sure.
stick to my script. Talk to me about how the offensive line has played a role in some of the better teams that you've been a part of, whether as a player or a coach.
Yeah, so unfortunately, in my career, I didn't get to do a whole lot of winning at a lot of levels. We weren't a powerhouse offensive. We weren't a powerhouse football school when I was in high school.
Yeah.
We were very much like a soccer school ranked nationally. So all of our great athletes played soccer, and it's kind of the way it was. But my best year was definitely my junior year, and we were good up front. And I think the thing that people forget about the offensive line is like we're the coal or the oil or the gas that keeps the engine moving, right? Like we are the team, the unit that you never get subbed out. I'm a big preacher of that, right? You see receivers rotating, running backs rotating. So for me, like the offensive line is a staple of what we do, no matter what, run game, pass game. So being good of a good unit, and people always forget as part of the unit, right? Like the tight end is part of that unit. And so when I look at my college years, the best year I had, and it just happens to work out that way, is my junior year. We had a group of 6 guys who really bought into being a unit and kind of driving the offense, right? No matter what we were going to do back there, no matter who we had back there running the ball or throwing the ball, our job is to make them successful. Them being in the paper, and I tell my guys this all the time, right? Them getting their names in the paper is good for us and what we do. Your name's not going to be in the paper. Your name's not going to be on everyone's not going to know who you are. But hey, our running back gets 280 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. He's in the paper. That's a win for us. That's us in the paper, right? So for me, it's really a glue thing. It's a unit that makes sure that the unit that as a whole in the offense is doing the right thing and moving the ball forward, right? Leaving the field with points, not leaving the field, refusing to leave the field without points is a big thing that I preach a lot. And so without the offensive line, we aren't really what we like. Kind of hang our hat on, especially at Lake Norman. Our offense coordinator, John Law, really preaches running the ball. And so when we take that on and I challenge my guys, right, part of that is just being a good unit and being good teammates, being the selfless leaders. And I think that's really what it means to be an offensive line and being that unit. It's just being the selfless leaders. And every time I was on a team with a good offensive line and selfless leaders, we were successful. And that's, I wasn't very successful throughout my entire career, but the years that we were, it's because we had a great unit of 6 guys up front that really wanted to get the job done.
Yeah. No, I mean it is. We are the selfless group, right? Nobody talks about us. If I've coached for 18 years, and actually ironically the only time I've ever had an article written about the offensive line was the one year I was in North Carolina. And that was because we went farther than any school or any team in school history had gone. And so the week of the last game was actually, they wrote an article about the group, and it was called, because we called ourselves the unit all year, ironically.
Yep.
And so they wrote an article about us. It was crazy because it was, I was the Yankee, and they, I'm sitting there talking to these guys, and they're, all these North Carolina kids, and so it's kind of cool. But yes, so we don't get the recognition. But
and that's hard for kids, right? Especially in today's day and age, right? In the social media day and age. And when I played, and I'm sure the same, obviously, when you played, right? Like I didn't even have a social media. Like all of my recruiting was on physical hard copy DVDs, or I uploaded the video to YouTube, and I was sending links to coaches, and you were sending emails. There was no DMs, right? And my dad physically burned DVDs, and I would go to recruiting visits and hand out DVDs like I was, at Blockbuster. And so it's hard in today's day and age, especially because a lot of what gets you recruited is that social media, right? And so how do you get recognized on social media while also, being selfless, right? And not being the guy that's a me guy, and being a unit guy, right? And the way you do that, and I talk about this in my room all the time, right, is by scoring points, by doing your job, right? Like I know, and I've seen you comment on Twitter, and I can't agree with you more, right? The videos of the kids doing one-on-ones, no pads on, and ripping and hip throwing, right? Like that might get you the social media presence you want, but is that the right way to get the social media presence?
Right.
In my opinion, the right way is to play the game the correct way, right? Putting good film out there, being a good leader of your team, being that selfless guy that when a coach comes and says, hey, who's number 65 or who's number 73, we have a proud way to talk about you because that's what you did your job. Someone recognized you, right? And so it's hard in the social media age because you don't get the cool edits, you don't get the cool slow mo touchdown catch, right? But hey, running from 2 yards out and running through a person's face and putting them on the ground with the end zone camera, that gets you the same recognition, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know how old you think I am, but I was definitely not handing out DVDs. I was handing out
Oh
VHS
man,
tape, buddy.
oh man. Well, listen, I gave you the benefit of the doubt.
I know, I appreciate that. Yeah, I was handing out tapes, man, like legit, like literal tapes. But no,
Yep,
what you're saying is 100% accurate. Like there was none of that. We had to hope a school came to see us. We had
yep.
to hope there was some sort of connection that we could make. And that was how we were rolling. But
Yeah, I think
very
it
good.
makes it easier to I think it made it easier for us to be selfless guys, right? And I
Yeah.
like, kids always start in the offensive line and they have dreams of leaving and going to play receiver because again, they had scored touchdowns. That's the cool thing. Like I played offensive line from 3.5 years old when I was, playing with 5-year-olds because I outweighed my class. And I don't know how you guys did it in Illinois, right? But like I was always heavy. So I was always playing up 2 years.
Yeah.
And I played offensive line my entire life. So from Pee Wee football through middle school, through high school, through college, I was always in the offensive line. So for me, looking back, I was a very selfless player and I always was a team guy. And it's definitely helped me, progress in my career and not only coaching, but like my private and my job career.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't know how I would be today and trying to get the social media presence and getting your name out there. And so I definitely have some empathy with the guys that want to get their name out there. But that's really our jobs as coaches too, right? And getting
Yes.
the right kids out there and putting their names out there. And I try to do a great job because I know you got great connections, but like I played a college ball with a lot of guys who are either coaching now or no coaches, and eventually it gets
Right.
the right guy. And so I tell my guys all the time, like you play the right way, you play well. Like I'll do everything in my power to get you the look that you deserve. And so we're a very selfless unit, and our kids really buy into that. But it's tough in this day and age with social media and trying to get your name out there.
Yeah, no, it is. It really is. It's hard. It's hard because some of these guys too, I mean, they don't get help from the coaches either. Like
Yep.
where it's our job to give them that help. They're not getting it, and they have to reach out
Yep.
to other people to try to find that help. But no,
Yep.
it's very admirable that you're doing that. Um, so from New York, went to Utica. How did you end up in North Carolina? Was that like a planned thing? Was that totally work related, or give me the backstory with that. Oh, did we lose you? Are you there, Coach?
Jesus Christ. Sorry about that.
No,
I
you're
guess
good, man. You're good. That's
The Florida Heat's no joke
I
down
was
here. I
gonna
guess.
say
Huh?
that's what you
So,
get for being in Florida.
geez, Louise. So you're asking me about New York and
So
Utica
yes,
and kind of
so
how?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
asking, yeah, how you ended up in North Carolina.
So I originally from like I said, Long Island, went to Utica, left Utica with my girlfriend at the time, now wife and mother of my two beautiful kids. Moved to New Jersey for work.
Okay.
Was working in New Jersey, then New York City. So I work. I do cyber intelligence for a big bank full time. Um, Left. COVID hit. My wife was pregnant with my first, and I don't know if you know anything about New York City. You've been in New York City. I'm not trying to talk any smack about New York City. Born and raised right next to it, but it became a place that I did not feel like I had a 100% chance of coming home successfully every day. Right.
Okay.
So, um, during COVID, seeing that I could do my job remotely and be successful, I was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm going to move. I'm going to move down south. And I'm going to get the best of both worlds, right? Which is a really nice way to live and also work remote full time.
Right.
And so we settled in North Carolina because as a Yankee, my wife's from New York. North Carolina, the best way I describe it is, and you said you did a year there. It's the South, so you get the benefits of the South, the tax breaks, the cost of living, the way of life, which is super relaxing and stress free kind of. But you're not in the South. right? And
Right.
I'm from New York. You can hear it. I speak very fast, and so a lot of people that live in where I live in North Carolina are also implants from Ohio, New York, um, and so it kind of worked out. How we settled on where in North Carolina. Um, at the time, the big bank I was working for was working with me, but being a little bit playing a little bit of hardball. And so part of how I got down North Carolina full time remote was I got offers from Bank of America and Wells Fargo. To work for them. And so I was able to leverage those and kind of, so I chose Charlotte just in case my big bank didn't work out. I can always go down and work in Charlotte. And so that's
Right.
how we settled on Mooresville, North Carolina. So
Okay.
it was the luck of the draw. Once I moved in, I was out of football for man, probably 7 or 8 years. I
Oh
stopped playing.
wow.
Yeah, I stopped playing football in 2015. Didn't really have the time with the commute to New York City. Um, Moved down here, and I'm a big community guy, and that's part of being a selfless leader. I'm a very big community guy.
Yeah.
I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, right? I don't work well. I don't have a great skill set with my hands. I don't know how to build things. I'm not very artistic, so like I can't go and volunteer and paint a mural or something
Yeah.
like that. So I said, how can I get involved in the community and also like not get made fun of by a bunch of people, right? And so
Sure.
I settled on football because at the time I was like, you know what, like I missed the game. I'm pretty good. I know how to play offensive line. Um, and so I reached out to two coaches that are locally. And Coach Jonathan Oliphant over at Lake Norman High School. I happen to live a baseball throw away, so I
Right.
can legitimately walk there if I need to. Um, he hit me back up. He said, "Listen, I'm looking for a assistant offensive line coach because you need to have two coaches in the offensive line, right? There's
Yeah.
other position groups where you can kind of get away with having one running backs, quarterbacks, less guys, but no matter what, even if you can only play five, I got 30 kids on my roster, right? And so, um, just for someone that is there that can help out. And so I said, listen, like I want to get involved. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. Um, Worked under a guy named Sean Fitzgerald, who
Yep.
is the now the head coach at West Iredell High School. Really, really great guy. Learned a lot from him my first year. And the biggest thing I had to learn from him was, you know, how to coach high school kids. And I'm sure you
Right.
felt the same way when you came from the college game. So that's how I kind of ended up in North Carolina and at Lake Norman. It was kind of the luck of the draw, but couldn't be happier. It's
Yeah.
definitely a way of life that I wasn't getting in New York City. And that's, again, I miss the food. I miss all of that. But my 300, my 68, I've actually counted it, my 68-foot commute from bedroom to downstairs to get my coffee to my office is a lot better than 2 trains in 3.5 hours.
I
So
shoot, man. You're
we'll take it.
you're telling me. Yeah, I mean, I was a guy not to I drove for a season, so like 5, 6 months. I drove it was 165 miles each day.
Yep.
So man, I get it. It's
Yeah.
we all strive for that commute, right? Where it's like, hey, it's in the
Yeah.
backyard. I can
Yeah.
walk out there. But
And it lets me, it's luckily I found that, right? Because like, so for example, practice starts at 4:15. I can leave my house at 4:10 and I'm on
right,
the practice field by 4:13, ready to go. Right. And
right,
I got a great group of guys that I coach with that are full-time teachers. They help me get the field set up where the kids know what they need to do for
right,
certain drills that I give them either pre-practice or they know, okay, we need 5 hand shields, 3 medicine balls, and we're going to be in the shoot, right? So like they pull the shoot on, they get the medicine balls out, they get the hand shields out, and like I'm good. I show up, practice is starting in terms of like warm-ups. I'm ready to go, and everything's out there for me. So
yeah,
really great group I work with, and it's fortunate that my job and my boss, who really supports my efforts in coaching, allows me to kind of do this type of work.
right. You're answering all the questions I was going to ask you about that because I obviously saw that you were not a teacher, so I was going to kind of
Yeah,
ask you about any struggles you may have with it, but it
there definitely
doesn't
is.
sound like okay. So talk to me.
Yeah.
Tell me some of those that you find.
Well, I think the biggest struggle, and I know, I feel like a lot of guys feel this that don't work in the school. Not working in the school is
Yeah,
definitely the biggest struggle, right? Because I don't get to build. I do my best to build relationships fast, right? And it's part of what I do, and part of building relationships is being there for them, whether it's, hey, I need help with the coach, or hey, I need help with school, right? I always ask
right,
the kids. I don't ask them are they excited about football. Every day, the first question I ask them, how's school today?
right,
I'll ask a random kid, hey, Johnny, what did you learn today? Hey, Sean, what did you learn today? Right? Because like we're student athletes. And if you start pushing that at the high school level, even early on, right? Like you and playing college ball and coaching at the level, right? Like next guy, right? And
yeah,
that's the something I want them to get used to, not because I don't want them to feel comfortable in what they do, but I want them to understand that like once you get to that next level, if you strive to get to that next level, like you being the best player in your high school team, you're now the middle of the road college football player,
Right.
right? And so that's the biggest struggle I think for me is not being in the school.
Right.
And not being able to build those relationships. And so I thought about, do I want to, switch over my career and become a teacher and get more involved in coaching and things like that. But I work a very cool job that allows me to do
Yeah.
both and allows me to support my family while also being a coach. And so I try to be there as much as I can.
Right.
Whether it's, helping with equipment handout, helping with so like one of the things that I started doing this year, it's only my last year was my first full year as a line coach. I do the jersey handout for every game, JV and
Okay.
varsity. Me and another coach, Jason Neely. And the reason why is because like I get to interact with the kids and learn their
Yeah.
names a lot faster that way, right? So
Yes.
especially the young JV kids on the defensive side, who I may not see a lot during practice,
Right.
right? And so I get to learn their names. I get to see what number they're wearing. I get to acclimate a number to a name to a face. And so I like doing the jersey handout because I get to joke around with them. And so
Right.
I'll play games with them. I'll throw in the wrong size pants every once in a while, and make them come back in and look me in the eyes and ask me for a new pair of pants because that's also building the way you need to speak to coaches, right?
Yes.
It's so you see these kids so many times. They and I love our kids, right? And I have conversations with them all the time. Like, stop going to recruiting visits wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt, right?
Yeah.
Like, coaches recognize that like the effort you put in to what, and it's so small, right? Like the effort you put into what you wear, or speaking up, or speaking up for what's right, whether that be you got the wrong pants, or the helmet's too small, or the jersey's not the right one. Like it starts helping them when they get to that college level where they need things because it gets stressful, right? And so
Yeah.
that's something I really like to do, and it helps you, bond with the kids a bit. But I would say that, yeah, like I said, the biggest struggle for me is not being in the school and being around them as much as I could be.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like for me being in education, like that's super important. Anytime
Yep,
I've looked for a job or anytime I've talked to, it's always like, how can I get in the school? Like I need to be in
yep,
the school, and I'm like you. I love doing the equipment and the uniforms and all that
yep.
because it's another like I'm probably very similar to you in that regard too, where like I don't want to talk to you about football. Like
No,
we talk about football all the time. Like let's talk about something else. Like I want to hear about what another sport you're playing in, or like you
yep,
said, like how was your school day, or
yep,
those things. I think those conversations resonate a little bit more than
for
just
sure.
like football. Yay, like
Yeah,
it's
what
there's
do you
more to
got
it.
on counter, right? Like we know
Right.
what you have on counter, right? But like, did you pass your biology test? Because if you didn't, now we're in trouble here, right? And
Right.
so
Right.
that's the big thing, and just reminding kids that like it can get take. Like I played with a lot of great kids in college that every day was probably a stressful day, waking up
Right.
saying, "Oh, am I going to be eligible today?" Right? But like I don't want that for any of our kids because at the end of the
Right.
day, right? Then I tell this to kids all the time, and I got a lot of kids, and I'm trying to change. Um, you know, our head coach Jonathan Oliphant is one of the best high school head coaches. I'm not just saying that because he's my boss and I work for him, right? But like, it's rare to find a head coach that knows the X's and O's, but also understands the ins and outs of the college level game, right? And getting these kids ready. And like me and him and our offense coordinator Jonathan Law, who played at App State, 2-time All-American. We get it, right? And like there are kids that we have that are like, I want to go D1. And it's like, well, guys, like you can go D1 and sit there and watch your friends play for 4 years, and
Right.
then your career is done, right?
Right.
Or look at this D2 school who's giving you a chance. Like, look
Right.
at this D3 school that's giving you an opportunity, right? Because would you rather go play for 4 years than your career's over in 4 years, no matter what? Very
Yeah.
few kids go to the NFL. I hate to break it to a lot of people. Anyone listening, very few people go to the NFL after college, right? And so
Yeah.
you have to be at what? I think it's 7% play at the next level, whether it's D1 through D3 NAIA, right? And then 0.1% of
Yeah.
that
It's
goes on to play in the NFL or something crazy like that,
it's
right? And
some
so
wild number. Yeah.
like after 4 years, your career is going to end, right? And so like, do you want to sit there and watch your friends play for 4 years, or do you want to get a good education, have a chance to play for 4 more years, and
Hmm.
then be an adult and start your life after football, right? Because
Right.
life after football comes a lot faster than you think it does, right?
Yes.
It hits you in the face, right? And it's one of those things where like, I feel like we can start preparing them here, and we do a really, really good job of that at Lake Norman. And I think that a lot of that speaks to Coach Oliphant and his ability to connect with kids and be real with them. Say, hey, listen, like in reality, like this is where you fit in, and I think you're going to be
Hmm.
successful here. And we sent a lot of kids to be successful at places. So that's really important for me, and just understanding their wants and what they want to see and what they want to do.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think that's there's not enough coaches that really do that. I mean, there's a good number, but like
Yeah.
there should be more that take that mindset and try to explain to the kids that like, and that's unfortunately the generation we live in now, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
they want. They want the NIL, they want the money, they want this and that. But those are the ones that go to 4 schools in 3 years and never graduate and never get an education and never are able to look past football to see what's going
Yeah.
on with the rest of their life. And that's unfortunate. That's a sad part of the game in
Yeah.
2025.
Never in my life, man. I thought about transferring from Utica the first day I got to camp. They gave me a one of those alien shuts with the blue interior, right? Didn't fit, super tight, like so tight. I called my dad. I'm like, I got to get out of here, man. Like this
Yeah,
stinks. Um, I was like, Western New England really wanted me. I was like, I'm going to go to Western New England. They'll let me play. I was the last in the depth chart at Utica. There was 5 full offensive lines, then me and the sixth offensive line by myself. I'm like,
right.
Dad, get me out of here. My dad was like, hey, stop being a baby to keep it PG.
Yeah.
And he was like, go ask for a new helmet and shut up and do your job. And I was like, cool. And it worked out for me. Utica is one of the best cybersecurity schools in the country.
Right.
Not just saying that because I'm on the cybersecurity advisory committee there, but saying that because it really is. It's always ranked in the top 10. And so, like, what would my life been like if I didn't stay at Utica? I wouldn't have
Right.
met my wife, right? I wouldn't have met some of my best friends. And so, you know, the kids who are like, yeah, I'm just going to go here and I can always transfer out. That mindset is really starting to
Yeah.
bother me because, like, you need to build a brotherhood. You need to build a bond with some people. And so, yeah, it's just a different way of thinking about it. But again, after that one time I thought about transferring Utica, I never thought about transferring again. Right? No
Yeah.
matter what, no matter what. So
That's funny.
I want to change that, but it's hard because again, I guess it's easier for us, and it kind of goes back to recruiting yourself in social media. It was easier for us because like we weren't getting paid. But who am I to sit here and go, well, if this school's going to offer me $3 million in NIL,
I mean,
that sets you up for a life, right? So
right.
it's easier for me to say because no one was offering me as a offensive lineman, mediocre offensive lineman in college that happened to be in a good position to play, right? Like no one was offering me $3 million to come play offensive line. If they were, maybe it's a different conversation. Who knows?
No,
But
I know. You're
it's
right.
hard.
It is. You're right. You're absolutely right. Like it's, I was a 5'10", 190 pound
Yeah,
center and guard. Like nobody was coming knocking on my door. So I get that. I 100% get that. But I don't know. It's just the way things are done these days.
yeah.
It's frustrating as heck. But so went to Utica. You graduated from Utica. Obviously we talked about your transition, getting to North Carolina and all that.
Yep.
Was there ever a point in time when you were at Utica when you thought about coaching? Or was it just moving to North Carolina and you said, you know what, I got to be involved somehow, some way in the town? Was there ever a moment before that when you were like, maybe I'll get into coaching?
A little bit of both, right? So there's a school up in the Syracuse area, Central New York area called Onondaga Community College. Onondaga famously known for where Latavius Murray went to high school. And Onondaga Community College had a community college team that one of the guys I played with at Utica for a year happened to become the head coach there, and he was like, "Hey, can you come help out?" And I
Right.
said, "Listen, like, I'm a last semester senior. I only have classes Tuesday, Thursdays. If practices are one day a week and I got to drive out there, like, yeah, I'll come help out." And I realized that even throughout my entire career, because I started 3 years, 30 games at 4 different positions in college, and I was super grateful to do that. But I only played one spring ball because I either got a shoulder surgery, hand surgery, or I blew out my knee my junior year, right? So like
You were an
really only
offensive
had
lineman. That's pretty
yeah,
par for
so I
the
really
course.
only had one spring ball, and I realized that when looking back on it, when I started coaching here too, like I did a lot of coaching when I was hurt.
Yeah.
I was with the younger guys helping them out, or hey, it's easy to watch things from the back view, right? And so like when I'm standing behind there, I go, well, I can see this guy blitzing, so I would go in the huddle and be like, hey, watch that for that, right? And so I think I've always wanted to coach. I just don't
Hmm.
think I had the opportunity and I thought about New Jersey. I sent emails out in New Jersey to like Broadway High School, and they were definitely interested. But again, like I was working full time, and at the time, like I was really trying to build my career. But I still am, and I love what I do from cyber's perspective. But um, really was the kick in the butt for me is I guess three things. One, moving to community, like I talked about earlier. Two, I didn't have friends, man, and I don't know how it was for you moving a bunch of times, right? But moving to North Carolina, like I didn't know anybody. right? So
Right.
you move down here, you don't know anybody. Like, what's the best way to start meeting people, getting involved in the community, right? So my wife had a lot of friends from where she worked, but now I don't work anywhere. I work from home full time. So how do
Right.
I make friends while working from home full time if I don't do something? And so that was another kind of factor in what I did. I really wanted to get a group of guys or a group of people that were like-minded, loved the game of football or
Sure.
loved doing the same thing, kind of going out. And we all love golf too, which is just the kicker on it. It's one of the things we love doing, and we go on a golf trip every year, and I could talk about that for hours. But the um the third thing was my kids. Like I really want my kids to see me in an element where I'm not at work, right?
Sure.
Like football. Being a coach is work, right? But it's enjoyable work, in my opinion, and it really gives me an outlet to not be like my job is relatively stressful. I work a relatively stressful job. I oversee a big team globally in cyber intelligence, and I'm on the call for a lot of things, and so it's an outlet for me, but I really wanted my kids to see me in an element that I truthfully enjoy, right? And
Yeah.
I love football. I've been doing football my entire life, and that was a big thing. And so those are really the three things that kind of forced that decision. But yeah, back in the, I guess, little Utica, New York, Onondaga Community College, where I got my kind of my taste for it, and I was like, this is pretty
Yeah.
cool. This is cool. Kids that respect you, they listen to you. They want to be coached, and I think that's the big thing too. Like kids want to be coached, whether they'll admit it or not. They want to be coached, right? They want
Sure.
to be told how to do certain things because they want to be successful. And so I think that was really the kicker. But wasn't really serious about doing it until I moved to North Carolina and kind of dipped my toe, and I was like, oh wow, like, I love
Yeah.
this. This is what I want to do. So
Little bit slower pace of life when you're in North Carolina
yeah,
as compared to New York. Yeah, I get
yeah,
that. No,
yeah,
that's cool.
for sure.
It's again, like I've talked about this before. Like I shouldn't say loved. I enjoyed my time in North Carolina, right?
Yeah,
Like it was there's really good football there. There's some really beautiful parts of
yeah,
state. Um, for me, it was just I don't know. It was too far from home. I couldn't
yeah,
do
for
it,
sure.
man. I couldn't do it. I enjoyed that slower pace of life too. Like
Yeah.
the cost of living wasn't much, but
Yeah, I think what helped me move, and honestly, what the real thing was, like my brother moved down to Long Island, my mom moved to Florida, like my parents
yeah,
moved to Florida, right? So like, what was keeping me there? Some
yeah,
friends from high school, but the friends from high school that I talk to visit all the time. Like my best friend from high school just came down last weekend, right? So
right,
it was easier for me to move because I was already. Also, I moved right from college to New Jersey. I never moved back home, so I was
yeah.
already out. Like I was already out of the house. I was already on my own, and so yeah, we just decided to make the move and kind of
No,
it
you
worked
did
out. It worked out.
you did hit the nail on the head though. The food in New York is better.
Oh,
And you've lived in North Carolina for what now? How many years?
3 years, 3 years.
I have you gotten used to coleslaw and barbecue yet? Because I can't stand that.
Yeah. So like obviously New York doesn't have barbecue, right? And I don't think I live in the barbecue mecca of the world, right? I live
No,
in
North Carolina.
North Carolina, right?
North Carolina barbecue is not great barbecue. I'm probably gonna ruffle a lot of feathers with this, man. I'm gonna lose some followers, but North Carolina barbecue is not good.
No,
It's
listen, I've had Texas barbecue when we went down to watch Ethan play in the All American Bowl down
yeah.
at I think it was I forgot what part. I wish I knew it, but I actually got super sick at that guy. I must have caught a 24-hour bug, and I was thrown up
Oh
outside
man.
of I was thrown up outside one of the famous barbecue places where they got the Texas Twinkie and all that, and
Oh
the guys
no.
still rag on me for it. They'll like send me videos of the place, and they're like, does this bring back memories? And I'm like, man, I want to say mean things to you guys right
Yeah,
now, but
right.
like that was real barbecue. Like that was
Yeah.
the kind of barbecue where like I got sick, woke up the next morning feeling better, and ate leftovers cold from the fridge.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not doing that in North Carolina. My buddy who came down from New York, he drove down, brought me bagels, which was
Oh,
I'm not a pizza snob by any means.
yeah.
I am a bagel snob. It is one of the things where you can even give me like a good bagel in North Carolina. I'm like, this is nothing. Like I'm not
Yeah.
going to eat this. So
No.
being from Long Island, I am a bagel snob for sure. Um, like being born and raised Jewish, I also was born and raised on bagels. It's just what we did, right?
Absolutely.
So
We
every Sabbath you break fast with everything you do is just bagels and lox, right? So
bagels, lox, and egg salad, absolutely, or tuna
yeah.
salad. We had tuna salad, but
Funny enough,
um,
my mom asked one thing I wanted when I came down, and I was like egg salad. So I've had egg salad the entire time I've been down here. So
nice.
it's just a way of life. But yeah, the bagels, man, it's one of Chinese food is not as good. It's
I
hard to
will say
explain
this.
Chinese food.
I will say this. This is probably disgusting. When I was in North Carolina my one year, we would go on Thursdays. We would always do lineman dinner, And one of the places we went was the Chinese buffet, and
Oh,
it was surprisingly good. I like never
you
got
can't go wrong with a buffet.
no, never got sick. It was you know, I, I never got used to the different styles of food and like the not the non-American types of food, but
Yeah,
it was always strange to me where we live. Like, how are they, how are they making that? Who's cooking this? But
yeah,
it was good families, and so the Chinese food wasn't bad. But I'm like you too, man. I'm Chicago guy, so like everyone's always like, oh, deep dish pizza. I'm not a whatever. Give me pizza. It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah.
But I again like you with the bagels. When our daughter was born, when people would come want to see, they'd be like, oh, can we come see you this weekend? And be like, yep, but you got to bring bagels. So we made
Bring bagels.
we'd make everybody bring bagels to us just so we could have some good bagels. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's not the
funny.
same. Like my buddy brought him down. Like I had friends over after one of the we went out golfing and they came back to the house and I was like, yo, go pick up a bagel from the store and bring it to my house. They picked up a bagel and I compared the two. I held them up and I was like, what do you guys think? And
Yeah,
they're like, and I blew their mind. Like
yeah,
they're like, oh, so this is what you're talking about. I'm like, this is exactly what I'm talking about, man.
yeah.
Like it's just different. It's just
I,
different. So that's the only thing I miss is the food. Everything
no,
else, I don't miss anything else besides my the friends I got up there, of
well,
course.
sure,
But
sure, sure. That yeah,
the lifestyle. I mean, again, like living on Long Island, like the average house up there is $1.5 million. It's not feasible no more.
dude. I mean, it's everywhere. Like, where was it? There was a. I think I looked at a job in New York, like a college job, and I was gonna consider looking at, and we looked at like because I drive my wife nuts. Anytime I apply for a job, I immediately look at the housing market. And so
Got to live
we
somewhere.
exactly. And so I looked at this and it was like the same size house we have now, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, all that stuff. And it was like, yeah, like you said, like $1.3 million. And it's
Yeah,
like, nope. Like with that's
property
what
taxes are 25,000 a
yeah,
year.
it's like what the hell? So
Nope, nope.
yeah, not that's not happening. But it's I think I've been to New York a couple times when I was very young. I actually went to New York the December New Year's Eve of 2001. So that was a
Oh
trip.
wow,
But
yeah,
have never got to like experience it. So I think if I could have like a weekend pass to go to New York, it would be just to go eat at 100 different
everything,
places. Yeah, but
everything. Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
All right, well, last question I got for you, man. This is
Hit me.
the tough one. If you could put together a Mount Rushmore of offensive linemen, from guys you played with, guys you coached, or guys you're just a fan of growing up, who's on that five-man offensive line?
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So just all of the above. Well, first and foremost, Nick Mangold, New York Jets
Ooh,
center.
good one.
Actually, and people are like, oh, that guy's like my legitimate hero. Has his own barbecue sauce called Mangold's. If you want to eat it, you got to eat it.
I have not
It,
that I gotta find that. I didn't know that.
you
Yeah.
got it. It's on Amazon, and I'm not again not just because he's my hero. It's genuinely good barbecue sauce. And my boss, who's from Australia, would laugh if he heard me talking about this because we send each other buying barbecue sauce at Mangold's all the time. Um, Nick Mangold, man, it was one of those things where I was lucky enough to grow up a Jet fan in that era where we had Mark Sanchez, Mangold,
Yeah,
DeBrickashaw Ferguson, right?
it's a
All
good
these guys,
era.
Rex Ryan, um, DeBrickashaw Ferguson from Freeport, Long Island, not too far from me. So I was definitely very much into the Jets, and I still am, but sell the team. But with Nick Mangold, like he was a center. I played center.
Yep.
I emulated a lot of what I did. He was the quiet enforcer. I always called Nick Mangold. Right. You didn't really see him talking any smack any time. Right. But like you got in his team's way or you got in the teammate's face. Like he's throwing. Right. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of how I emulated my game. He's definitely a hero to me because I looked up to him as a football player, and now I look up to him as a dad. He's a great dad. I don't know him personally; I just see videos, but like he's
Sure.
always coaching. He's coaching his kids' sports, or he's doing podcasts where he's talking about his kids and his businesses and things like that. And so Nick Mangold is definitely one. Um, I guess the second one would be a kid that I really respected playing with. His name is Zach Honeywell, All-American left tackle from Utica when I played with him at Utica.
Hmm.
May not have always been the most, you know, weight room driven kid or the most, technique driven kid, but man, he was the most savvy football player I've ever played with from a
Yeah.
skill perspective, right? Like his ability to defeat different types of moves, whether it be speed the bull or different pass rushing moves and all these things. Like he always went against the best, never backed down, and was always successful at it. And so I really looked up to him, especially being a younger guy with him on the team, because he played the game the right way, and again, another guy that was like had his units back. So I would say number 2 would be Zach Honeywell, best offensive lineman I ever got to play with, and so he's got to be on the list. Number 3, one of the kids I coached, Bailey Sanders, had a really unfortunate, and it resonates to me. My dad passed in 2018 of a heart attack. And so Bailey Sanders, actually a long snapper right now at University of Buffalo. His dad, unfortunately, passed away during the season, his senior year. And when kids can fold and really get down on themselves, and that's an easy situation to fold on, right?
Yeah.
He didn't fold. He did everything he could, did it the right way, was there for his teammates when they were sad for him. And that's something I think is hard to do, especially I tried to do that when my dad passed, right? Like it's hard to be sad yourself and then be there for your teammates, because his dad was a really great guy and everyone loved his dad. And so watching him almost console his teammates while also going through it himself was a big respect thing for me. And so
no doubt.
Never missed a game. And easy to miss a game when your dad passes, right? But Bailey Sanders played the game the right way. And it's really cool because both of his parents are actually University of Buffalo grads, and so now he gets to play football where his dad was a punter there, and so I'm really happy for him. That's super, one of the things where I've gained a lot of respect for him. So I would say he's number 3. Number 4 would be Ali Marpet. Kind of maybe a fandom thing for me, but I got to play him in college when he was at Hobart.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So when he was playing at Hobart, I played him my freshman and sophomore year. Watching him play football was one of the cooler things, and it's not from a not from a technique thing. It's from a pure dominance thing, right? We had a All-American at defensive end, Nick Woodman, and he'll tell you this, right? Like Nick Woodman's the best defensive end I've ever seen. 6'5", played arena ball, played CFL ball, played the whole 9, right? Got the business, right? And then you realize, okay, Ali Marpet, they move up in the second round to draft him to Tampa Bay. He then becomes the highest paid Division III football player of all time, $90 million to play guard, one of the highest ranked guards in the NFL. And so as a D3 kid, watching him go from being a high school football player at Hudson Hastings to a Hobart grad to now NFL stardom, Super Bowl winner, right? Like play with Tom Brady. Like right? That's cool, right? So Ali Marpet would be 4 for me.
He's also a member of the tribe, isn't he?
Yes,
that's right.
He is. Yeah, and
so we gotta have a special place in our heart for him.
You don't have a lot of Jewish football. It was always funny, and I was hoping you bring it up, right? Like my grandfather always growing up, he'd be like, I come in with football pads on, he'd be like, oh, Jews don't play football, we play baseball, and I'm like, well, I played both, so he was very proud. But I think Ali Marpet would be number 4 for me.
Okay.
And then number 5, number 5, I think I'd have to put Joe Thomas. From an athleticism standpoint, not from, and again, like I know I'm naming really good football players, and it's easy to name good football players. And I'm younger, so watching Joe Thomas for me was cool. Watching him in his stance, like if you're, I tell this kid all the time, like don't watch Joe Thomas highlights. Well, coach, he's so good. I'm like, well, don't, because you're not that athletic, right? Like his left tackle stance, his left foot is so far back and behind him that his feet are almost parallel to each other, right? And I'm like, you're not that athletic. If you watch Joe Thomas pass block, both his feet might leave the ground at a time, but he's a freak athlete. And like Trent Williams, these guys are freak athletes, right? So like, don't emulate your game from a technique standpoint, because you can't do what they do. What I need you to emulate your game on is a dominance standpoint. Joe Thomas dominated the left tackle position for 10, 15 years in the NFL, and that's hard to do, right? So I think from his perspective of like pure athleticism, and like it's hard to be a good athlete at that size, right? I think that's probably the reason I'd have him at number 5. So if I had to put it 5 guys together, ranging in skill, obviously Zach Honeywell, All-American Division III football players, not Joe Thomas, but
hey, still pretty good.
Yeah, listen, it's hard to be an All-American at any level, and I think that's something I tell kids all the time, right? Like they're like, oh, but you played, like I got kids who try to rag on me for playing D3. I'm like, guys, like I have Division III football players that would smoke you and all your
no doubt
players in college, right? And so that I mean, it's hard to do, right? So I think that would be my 5 guys, and I would bring those guys to any sort of war. I mean,
that's a pretty good group.
We'd be pretty good.
That's a pretty good group.
I would have to put on some weight, but we'd make it work.
Yeah, I always like the when you talk about Nick Mangold, I always remember the clip from him on the Hard Knocks when they're talking about he signed his big contract and then was at Taco Bell the next day or whatever. That always made me laugh, because it's such offensive
Yeah.
lineman thing.
Well, Nick Mangold, like if you watch the clip, there's a clip of him on PAT. Oh no, on they're taking a knee or spiking the ball, and they try to jump over the offensive line. He flips the guy, and they get into a huge fight. Or even the story about when Nick Mangold's sister was an Olympic power
Yeah.
lifter, and he refused to go to the Olympics because it was during camp. And Rex Ryan was like, "If you don't go, I'm going to fine you."
Right.
And like that's the most offensive line thing because you don't want to let your team down. You want
No.
to be available, right? Availability is the best ability. I say it all the time. Like if you ask my kids to give you the biggest quote, it's always going to be availability is the best
I
ability.
like that. I'm gonna
That's
steal that.
like
That's really good.
steal that. Like, and that's why I play. Like people are like, oh, I'm like, what did you do in college? Like I started 30 games at right tackle, straight right tackle, right guard, left center, and left guard. The only place I didn't start was left tackle, and the reason why I got to play so much is I wasn't always the best, but I was adaptable and I was able to play
Right.
so many different positions. And so my thing growing up and being, not the best football player was always availability is being available is the best ability you can have. Like being
Yeah.
able to say, hey, oh, so and so got hurt, I can play there.
Right.
Oh, we need a guy here, I can go there. No, don't worry about it, coach, I got this, right? Like, so I always try to teach my guys like being available is your best ability. So
No, I
Nick
love
Mangold
that. That's
started a
awesome.
bunch of games. Joe Thomas started a bunch of games, right? So that's something we definitely hang our hat on. But yeah, that'd be a good five to roll with.
That's a real good five. I like it. So, all right, well, coach, I'm gonna get you out of here, man. Do me a favor,
Yeah,
drop your Twitter handle for everybody and let them know where they can find you if they need anything else.
yeah, I think it's at Coach Lasker 75, one word. I got another one, Power Football Training. It's a business I started that, I'm really just trying to give back to the community and coach some local kids, not even
Yeah,
just Lake Norman kids, but anybody, but really just trying to get involved in the game more than I can in terms of helping out the community. So the main one I use is at Coach Lasker 75. And if you want to, talk ball or talk anything, I'm around.
awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate
Cool.
you coming on here, man. Enjoy
Appreciate you.
enjoy Florida. I'm still insanely jealous, but let's talk football soon, man, and
Yeah,
enjoy the weather and
I'll catch you on the Hog Chats
yeah, for sure, man. All right, I
for
appreciate you
sure.
coming on, dude.
Appreciate it. Have a
All right,
good one.
man. Take care.